Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the Sandwich of Coherency. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this. And today, it's a conspiracy. What is a conspiracy? Well, the conspiracy is population and the attempts to lower it, to create gaps in reproduction, and to overall control society. I got an idea. I got a theory. It's a good one. It's going to piss a lot of people off. But personally, I think it makes sense. So hear me out here. Check this out. But I personally think that this is absolutely wrong across the board. But our society has gotten so strained and completely twisted that we now have people out that are promoting the idea. This idea of mutilating children's genitalia, boys and girls, because, and it's still sick. You have parents, their children, the people who think like this need to have their children taken away. This is child abuse. And they're being brainwashed by, let's say this is where I'm gonna throw a little bit of conspiracy in here. Let's say it's the elites. Let's say it's the World Economic Forum. Let's say it's the globetards who have this idea of the world is overpopulated and we need to do something about it. Are they brainwashing these parents who are mentally disturbed themselves, who are obviously weak-minded, weak-willed? I mean, and this whole idea of if you can't be a victim, you have to virtue signal. And everybody's virtue signaling because they want to be on the right side of history. Fucking morons. We chemically castrate pedophiles and we do that to sick and twisted people. And then we have these adults who, and anybody who has children, you know, as your kids grow up, they tend to emulate not just one parent, both parents. We have tomboys, little girls who like to play with the boys. Growing up, they were tomboys, just little girls that like to play with the boys in the neighborhood. There's nothing wrong with that. And they grow up to be lovely women who get married and have children. But in today's day and age, if your daughter wants to play with the boys, that obviously means she wants to be a boy. So therefore, the parent decides for the child to chemically castrate them with hormone blockers. Same thing for the boys. Your son is playing with his mother's things, walking around in his mother's shoes. Little boys do that. Again, if you have children, you know this. Let me rephrase that. If you are a sane parent with children, you know this. These things happen. Just because your little boy wants to play with the little toys, the Barbies and this and all that, or play with his mother's makeup or wear her shoes, because children love their parents. They emulate them. That does not mean little Billy wants to change his name to Barbara and have you chemically castrate him. Look, the logic, these people have no logic. They'll sit here and scream and tell you that the brain isn't developed until the person is 25. So therefore, we should not hold them accountable for the dumb shit that they do. But then they turn around and they tell you in the same breath that my 2-year-old completely understands these concepts. My 2-year-old has as much understanding as an adult. It's 25, 35, 40 years old and is able at 2 years old to make a decision that is going to affect his entire life. Your child did not make that decision. And that's the part we need to understand, is that the children are not making these decisions. The weak-willed parents are pushing it on them because they want to be virtuous. And a lot of it stems from this idea that started shortly into the Obama administration, that all boys are evil, masculinity is evil, masculinity is toxic, and blah, 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 blah. We're not going to go into that realm, because that's a whole nother conversation. but this is what it's been leading up to. Now, I have a theory. This is my theory. Now, check this out. This is a good one here. Um, Again, we're going to do a little bit of conspiracy in it here. But this is my theory. I personally believe that there is a massive push for, which is being seen in the media, is being pushed by governments around the world. What they're attempting to do is, one, they want to convince men, okay? As a man, they're telling you, there is nothing gay. And this is how they started. Remember, they started saying, there's nothing gay if a guy wants to hold his best friend's hand. There's nothing gay if a guy wants to kiss and make out and make love to his male friends. Yes, that shit is gay as fuck. There's nowhere. It is the definition of it. And that's how they tried to soften you up, like, oh no, it's okay. No, it's not. Okay? And if somebody wants to be that way, let them be that way. But don't try and give them some reverse psychology and brainwash them. Fuck that. So this is the idea is what they're doing is they want to tell men it is okay to sleep with another man if he dresses like a woman or if he pretends to be a woman. As long as it's pretending to be a woman, there's nothing gay about that. No, it's absolutely gay. It's still gay. Your biological male sleeping with another biological male, doesn't matter what you do to the outside. Look. You ever seen a kit car where they put the the frame of a Ferrari over a MR2? Okay, sure, you put a frame of a Ferrari on it, but you're still driving a fucking MR2. Just because. So we have humans turning themselves into kit humans. But it doesn't change the fact that what's up under the chassis is still what it was when they made the bitch. And people will say, I know, look, people are going to get mad. They're going to be like, oh, you're being sexist. No, I'm not. You're being homophobic. No, I'm not. You're being transphobic. Still, no, I'm not. I'm being a realist. I'm explaining what it is. And if it bothers you, then that means that you don't fully believe in the nonsense that you're spewing. And that means that anybody who questions it breaks it down because you don't believe in it. And the only way for it to, in your mind, for it to work is if everybody believes in it. You need everybody to go along with it so you don't feel challenged in your beliefs, because at the core of it all, you know you're wrong. It's as simple as that. You can get all loud and scream, but it doesn't change the fact of what it is. 1 + 1 is 2. No, period. So my point of what I'm saying is that what I believe they're doing is they're trying to convince men to sleep with other men and marry other men and all this nonsense, and pushing the idea that as long as it pretends to be a woman, it's okay. And this is their idea of being able to easily create a birth gap. Because remember, they say that they believe the world is overpopulated, and because they believe the world is overpopulated, they've been working on you just can't kill people off. I mean, they would if they could, but the idea of what they want to do is stop the reproduction. Okay, a man can go out, and as many times as he can go out and bust it open, he has the potential of knocking every woman he comes and allows him to bust it open to get her pregnant. So if he's able to tag 5 in a day, he could technically knock up 5 in a day. But if we can get him to sleep with a man, then we don't have to worry about him doing that. If we can get him to confuse himself and fall in love with a man that is dressed like a woman, we don't have to worry about him sleeping with women. And just in the off chance, the men that don't want to do that decide not to do that, well, we have another factor here. What we'll do is we'll take the young girls and convince them that you can be a man. And we convince them at very early ages to remove their ovaries. Remove everything about them that is a woman. And so if we can get a whole lot of women to make themselves unimpregnable, then we don't have to worry about it. And it's become such a huge business. This is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry now of literally castrating boys and girls across the board, making them unable to have children, to be able to reproduce later in life. These people don't even have the option of even storing eggs or sperm. Those options don't exist for them. They're not like the adults who did it later in life and said, just in case this shit don't work out or I change my mind, let me set some eggs to the side. Let me set some sperm to the side so that if I decide I was wrong, I could still have children of my fucking own. No. We're taking that away from them. So my idea is a simple fact that they're pushing this whole transhumanism idea in order to mix things up so that we can get a whole generation of confused people who won't reproduce. Look, this is mental illness. I know people are going to say that I'm being hateful, and I'm not. I really want these people to get help. They really need mental help. You have teachers being removed from classes, losing their positions because they don't want to recognize little Timmy who comes into school dressed as a cat meowing. He's not a cat. Your child is disturbed. If that child is disturbed and needs some fucking therapy, I'm sorry. If your 13-year-old is boy or girl coming into school, meowing at teachers and all this other kind of nonsense, that is mental illness. For people who say things like, I'm star gender. Well, what does that mean? I'm made of stardust. Well, we're all made of stardust, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson. So define that. What does it mean? And you'll get a whole workaround of conversation that goes nowhere, the same as if you ask them, please define a woman. They won't tell you what is a woman, because to tell you what that is means that their whole entire false identity that they want you to go along with, the one they're trying to have policy passed to force you to do it. You have people who are being arrested, being fined, being treated as criminals for stating the obvious. That bloke with a beard, that's a man, that we all can clearly tell is a man, is a man. But somebody will get in trouble for acknowledging the fact that that is a man. Depends where you're from. I guess it depends where you're from. I personally, but again, this is getting a bit longer than I wanted to.